Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome back to this week's edition of HECMWorld Weekly. Smartfi Home Loans, which is a growing name in the reverse mortgage market, just made a major pivot, reports Housing Wire's Reverse Mortgage Daily. Smartfi is shutting down their retail division operations and will be focusing solely on wholesale operations. So we're going to break down what led to this move, what it means, and what may come next. Smartfi Home Loans is headquartered in the beautiful city of San Diego, California, and is among the top 15 U.S. lenders in the reverse mortgage market. In mid-2024, Smartfi launched their retail origination channel for reverse mortgages, and they brought on Paul Fiore, formerly with Finance of America, or FOA, to lead the retail division. But then on September 15th, 2025, Smartfi announced they will be ceasing all retail reverse mortgage origination activities immediately and shifting their resources back to their wholesale business. The company stated that that will allow them to better serve their wholesale partners and also give them enhanced value, stronger operations, and sharper service. Paul Fiore is no longer with the company following the decision to shutter the retail operations. Smartfi's wholesale channel already represented a majority of their HECM reverse mortgage operations, and for the year ending in August 2025, they had endorsed 350 FHA HECMs, or home equity conversion mortgages, through, yes, their wholesale channel. So what does this mean? For Smartfi, it's a sharpening of their business strategy. By eliminating the retail origination efforts, which were presumably a little bit more costly or perhaps less profitable, now the company can concentrate their capital, their staffing, and their systems solely on the wholesale channel. Now, for retail borrowers and also brokers looking to go through Smartfi directly via retail, that will no longer be an option that they have. Agents and brokers who are working wholesale will likely see more focus and potentially improved support from Smartfi, which I've heard they've done a very good job. Now, for the reverse mortgage marketplace, this may signal that for some lenders, the wholesale channel is perhaps a more viable or efficient path forward. It also underscores how competitive margins and complexity in the reverse mortgage retail market could push some smaller firms forward to the wholesale-only model. Smartfi is committed to reinforcing and expanding their wholesale partner relationships, and they'll likely be streamlining their processes, enhancing partner support, and invest where they see returns in the wholesale lending space. Now, whether or not that leads to new product offerings, faster underwriting, or tighter spreads, that remains to be seen, but it is a quick pivot back to their core business model. Today, we're going to look at 4 of the 6 big changes coming to Social Security in 2026 and how your potential and existing reverse mortgage borrowers may be impacted. Kiplinger's recent coverage of the 6 changes coming to Social Security in 2026 notes the substantial changes in Social Security benefits and the full retirement age as well. It's the age at which you become eligible to receive 100% of your Social Security retirement benefit. Historically, when the system was created, the FRA was set at age 65. But beginning with amendments passed in 1983, Congress gradually raised the FRA to reflect longer life expectancies. Kiplinger notes that in 2026, the FRA will reach 67 for those born in 1960 or later, the final step in that transition. Raising the full retirement age by 1 year may seem incremental, yet it does change the calculus of retirement planning. And then the second change is the adjustment to the Social Security benefits to offset inflation, or at least most of it. Kiplinger reports that the estimated cost of living adjustment, or COLA as we call it, in 2026 will be about 2.7%, slightly higher than 2.5% in 2025. But here's the catch. Medicare Part B premiums will probably take a larger chunk. The projected Part B premium increase could reduce the net boost that retirees actually see in their checks. The third change coming down the pike is the taxable earnings cap. That is the threshold after which one does not have to pay additional Social Security taxes on their income. In 2025, that limit is $176,100. Kiplinger reports the 2026 cap is projected to increase to $183,600. That means higher income earners will pay Social Security taxes on more of their income. In 1980, the taxable earnings cap was just $25,900. Since the Social Security reforms that were enacted in 1977, that taxable maximum has, of course, been indexed to growth in the average wage. And that means it tends to increase annually unless we see that there is no wage growth or cost of living adjustment in a given year. However, because top incomes have been outpacing the average wage of the worker in recent decades, more income now lies above that cap, meaning that, well, the government's missing out on those taxes to support the program. That means a larger slice of the total national earnings is not being taxed by Social Security. And the fourth change coming down the pike is a loosening of the earnings test. Now, this is something that most folks don't know. If you are collecting benefits before your full retirement age, but you're still working, your benefits could be reduced under the Social Security earnings test. In 2026, the threshold for beneficiaries younger than the full retirement age for a single individual is estimated to be about $24,360. That means $1 of the benefit is withheld for every $2 earned above that threshold. So here's one example to make it clear. If we have a single individual with an annual gross income of $34,360 and they retire at age 64 and they begin to collect their benefits, that means $10,000 of their annual income will be above that limit or threshold. Their benefits, therefore, would be reduced for $1 for every $2 earned above that limit. So if we do the math, that means about $5,000 in Social Security benefits would be withheld each year. In other words, if he had an annual benefit of $18,000, that would be reduced down to $13,000. And if we break that down by monthly, that means their benefit is decreased by $417. After you do reach the FRA, or full retirement age, the limit is higher, estimated to be about $64,800. And after that, for an individual, $1 is withheld for every $3 earned a month until you hit the FRA. Now, that's some fun math. Well, not really, but it does underscore the importance of retirees to first meet with a Social Security benefit specialist. So important. And also with a financial planner so they can calculate out, do scenarios, and weigh how those changes may impact their retirement planning decisions. What does a retired truck driver know about aging, retirement, and senior demographic trends amongst older Americans? The answer is actually quite a bit. Author Bradley Windrow created an impressive resource page on his website which covers 17 topics which span from senior population growth to living arrangements. Now, today I'm going to bring you the key takeaways. And we've also included a link to his website that you can dive in deeper on HECMWorld.com. As of 2024, it's estimated there are roughly 59.3 Americans 65 and older, which make up 17.7% of the population. And that's a major shift from 2010, where there are only 13% that were seniors. Windrow projects that by 2050, the senior population will swell to 82 million. However, within this group, there are key distinctions. The 65 to 69 cohort is the largest slice, 32%, followed by 70 to 74, and so on. Significantly, the 85 plus group is growing fastest as life expectancies increase. However, within this group, there are key distinctions. First is the 65 to 69 cohort. They're the largest slice, 32.8%, followed by those 70 through 85. And speaking of 85, those in the 85 and older group are increasing at the fastest rate as life expectancies continue to increase. Women outnumber men among seniors. They're about 55.2% of the population of those that are 65 and older, and that disparity increases in the older brackets. In the 85 plus category, women comprise nearly 2/3 of that group. And around 82.5% of seniors are white, 10.1% black, 5.3% Asian. Then you had the smaller share of multiple races. Next, where are seniors living and with whom? Windrow found that living alone is actually quite common, especially among women. About 27% of women aged 65 to 74 and 43% of women aged 75 and older live alone. Men in the same age bands live alone less often. Multi-generational homes are on the rise in 2021. An estimated 59.7 million Americans lived in multi-generational households, and that's about 18% of the total senior population. That's good to know. Actually, there's family support. Among seniors, about 20% of women and 15% of men live in such arrangements. That is in a generational household. Marital statuses. Among 65 and older, about 56% are married with a spouse present, 21% are widowed, and 13% are divorced, and 6% have never been married. Next is health, disability, and also healthcare costs in retirement. Woodrow found that chronic conditions, not surprisingly, are widespread among seniors. 59% report having been diagnosed with hypertension or high blood pressure. 48% have high cholesterol, and also 48% report having been diagnosed with some form of arthritis. And 26% have been diagnosed with some form of cancer, and also 20% live with diabetes, type 1 or type 2. Among 65 to 74-year-olds, 24% live with at least one disability, and that increases to 46% for those 75 and older. The most common limitation that's being reported is the difficulty of walking or climbing stairs, which points us right to the importance of having modifications in a home so you can age in place. Then there's a gap in geriatric care, which is especially alarming. While tens of thousands of geriatricians will be needed by 2030, the number of certified specialists is actually declining, and that is reason for concern. Next, where do seniors live, and also how mobile are they? Half of all U.S. seniors live in just 9 states: California, Florida, Texas, New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Illinois, North Carolina, and Michigan. Now, that list should come as no surprise because several of those states account for the lion's share of HECM endorsements. That is shown in the reports to Congress and the actuarial studies. Now, the states with the highest concentration or percentage of the population over the age of 65, that is the older states, are Maine, Florida, Vermont, and West Virginia, which account for 20 to 23% of the overall population. So that is significant. You would think it would be Florida in first place. Also, older adults make up 20% of rural populations, but just 16% of urban areas. So that means you're going to find more seniors concentrated in a rural community versus in a city. Now, I want to give credit to Bradley Windrow and also for his work at bradleywindrow.com for compiling this amazing data. So we've included a link to his site in the show notes that can be found on HECMWorld.com.